welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Laura. I do a lot of stuff on this channel. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff on this channel. I'll be talking about makeup, life, health, nursing, kids, school, anything. But today, I'm talking about one thing that has affected my life so much. I know it affects so many people, especially during this time, and it is anxiety. Okay, here's my story. It's probably going to be a series because I have so many tips and tricks for anxiety, and I know that not everything works for everybody, but I've been dealing with anxiety for, let's see, 7 years now. Yeah, it's 7 years. Before I had my first ever panic attack, I didn't know what anxiety was, didn't care about any health stuff. Like, this was just me just living life to my fullest, you know. Just had Mason, so I was 21. I just turned 21. I remember this day vividly, and I'm sorry if I keep messing with my hair. But I had went to Pennsylvania, and on the way back, and this was back in the day, I was drinking lots of Red Bulls. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, at least 3 big cans a day. Because they really didn't give me energy. I just like the way they tasted. And I'm one of those people, if I like the way something tastes, I'm gonna drink it. So I am. So anyways, it was like a 14-hour drive from where I live there. We decided to come back a day early. And I was like, you know what, let's go. I'll drive, whatever. About an hour into the drive, I started feeling weird. My chest started hurting. I've never felt pain in my chest before. I was 21, and I was like, what is this? My left arm was going numb. So that was concerning. And then I felt this, and it's hard to explain, but I felt like this huge wave go over my head. Like, it just felt like I was in a huge fog, and it just went over my head. And then I started feeling my heart pound really hard, and I'm like, what is going on with my body? I always thought I was having a heart attack. We ended up pulling over, calling 911 because, like I said, I was scared I was having a heart attack. And so, you know, I get to the hospital, they do an EKG, blood work, they check my troponin levels, which your troponin levels is what checks damage to your heart. Everything came back normal with my heart. And so I'm like, you know, I looked at the doctor. She gave me a pill. Actually, she gave me 2 pills. And she said, take one of these right now. So I took one. It was a Xanax. And she looked at me and said, you had a panic attack. I said, I had a panic what? You know, I'm like, I don't know what you mean. I wasn't panicking over anything, you know. My ex at the time was sleeping in the car. My kids were sleeping in the car. Like, I was jamming. I had no worries in the world at that moment. Like, I wasn't panicking. I had no idea what was going on. So when she said that, I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. So she, you know, gave me the other one, and it was in a little blister pack, and she was like, you know, take it in case you need to follow up with your doctor, you know, if you need to in 3 days. It could just be a one-time thing. Me, I'm thinking, one-time thing, let's run with it, we're good, it's not gonna happen again. And then we get home. I started having panic attacks at least 3 or 4 times a day, every day. And it's gonna be hard to like put like my 7 years of dealing with this into one video. So I probably will do the series on, you know, different ways to handle it, what I've been going through, what I've tried, what, you know, has worked for me, what's helped me, what people I know have worked for me. I've done so much research, being in the medical field as well has helped. But anyways, so, you know, I was living in Georgia at the time, and, you know, Mason was about 4 months old, and, you know, so I was dealing with this for about a month and a half, and, you know, the constant, everyday, you know, panic attacks, and it was hard. I was scared. I didn't know what was going on in my body. I got to the point to where, you know, I was just like, I want to figure this out, so I went to my doctor, and he put me on this medication. Let me see if I can remember the name. Like, it was just there and now it's not, and that happens because I have ADD too. So let's see. I don't remember the name. It'll come to me. It'll come to me in a little bit. But he put me on this medication, which is an antihistamine. It is used, you know, for allergies. It's an off-label use for anxiety. Well, while on this medication, I took it as I was told to. You know, I was hoping it would help. It helped a little bit. Made me very tired. He told me to take it 4 times a day no matter what. So I did what I was told. I was on no other medications. It was just that one medication, and he said take it 4 times a day. I never drew labs, never did anything else. Just was like, oh, you know, here's a 21-year-old presenting anxiety symptoms, saying she had a panic attack, probably seeking. Sorry, I got a phone call. Anyways, you know, which I was not seeking pills. Like I said, I have two kids. Like, I have a newborn baby. Like, I don't want pills. Like, you know, I don't want, you know, everything. But there's such a stigma on anxiety. We'll get into that later. Maybe in this video, maybe in a different video. But, oh, medication was called Atarax. I remembered. See? Told you it'd come to me. Anyway, so I took it like he told me to. Never did any other tests. Just thought I was just one of, you know, I was part of a statistic, you know. So I remember one day I was leaving a friend's house, and it was, you know, back in the 7 years ago, you know, we had, you know, the smaller phones and whatnot, and, you know, my phone felt so heavy in my hands, and I just felt really weird. And, you know, I was a few minutes away from my house, so I called my uncle, and I was like, I said, hey, I'm feeling really funny. And at this point, I was living alone with my kids at the time. So I was like, you know, I'm feeling really funny. I don't feel right. I feel like I'm going to pass out. He stayed on the phone with me as long as Cody said he was sending my aunt to come help, you know, come over, make sure everything was good. So I get home, get Mason in his crib, and Carly was in her bed, and that's the last thing I remember. I'm waking up in a hospital bed. I woke up and my dad and my older sister were standing there, and I was like, what happened? And they, you know, they told me. So, you know, the next thing I know, my sister's telling me that my stepfather is on a red eye from Colorado, and that I'm leaving the next day to go move to Colorado. I literally packed everything I could. Mine and the kids' clothes was basically all I could fit in the trunk of my car. And it was sad. It was sad leaving because I felt like I didn't have a choice at the time. But later on, I'm glad I did. And like I said, if I don't explain those reasonings now, it will be in another video. So it's a 24-hour drive to Colorado. Didn't really have a clue what was gonna, you know, happen once I got there, what I was gonna do with my life when I got there. I was in college doing online classes in Georgia, you know, taking care of my kids, you know, and it was hard, you know, leaving everybody. I left my younger sister, my older sister, and my dad and everything. It was just like, you know, I felt like if it would have been my choice, I'd have been more, you know, okay with it. But, you know, like I said later on, I was very thankful for what had happened, because it was the start to a journey of recovering. And well, I wouldn't say recovering, but adapting, because you can never really recover from anxiety, especially in my case. In my case, there's reasons why I have anxiety, and I'm not going to throw all those reasons out there right now, because it's going to be like a separate video. And but trust me, like, you know, I will put those reasons, you know, put those things in there, you know, on why I do have anxiety and why I am the way I am today. It's been a long journey. I ended up coming back to Georgia 2 years. I lived up there for 2 years, and I came back down here. And I've, you know, a lot of stuff has happened in my life. Like, I've been through a lot of stuff, and, you know, with my health and whatnot. And I know it might seem like I'm rambling, but I'm really anxious right now for some reason. I guess because I'm talking about it, and it's like I feel like I'm reliving that day when I first experienced it. Because like when you experience something like that and you've never had it, you don't know what to do. You don't know who to turn to. You know, some people will say, well, go talk to somebody. You just need to talk to somebody. You're just anxious. No. It comes out of nowhere. Like, it's my subconscious. I'm subconsciously anxious, and I can't just turn it off. Right now my anxiety is being controlled. For the most part, I do have my ups and downs, but for the most part it is being controlled right now. But like, you know, I can't say talking to anybody has ever really helped. Like, you know, I do have PTSD as well. I've been to counselors. I've talked about what's going on, but it just never seemed to help me. Like, confiding in a complete stranger never helped me. Like, I can't explain it. I went in there feeling anxious, and I came out even more anxious because I put, you know, what I was feeling out into the world. And I feel like once you say it and you put it out there, it makes it even more real. Like, and, you know, at that time I was still young. You know, yes, I was a mother, but I was still young. I was 21. And I just, you know, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to turn to. No one in my family had anxiety. You know, I started seeing a doctor in Colorado, and she was the best. I'm glad I found her. You know, I would go see her. I told her, I said, I don't want to give up. I want to know what's wrong with me. I mean, I was scared to leave the house. I wouldn't drive for at least a few weeks after being up there. It seemed like, you know, once I was up there, my panic attacks got worse. And I know, like, changing altitude, you have to adjust to it. So, you know, there's different factors, like going from like Georgia to Colorado, like bam, like, you know, like you can get altitude sickness, and changing in altitude can cause your anxiety to worsen until you adapt. So I literally, my panic attacks were all day, every day. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to drive. I literally would wake up in the morning and I'd be like, I cannot wait to go to bed tonight. I didn't want to be alone at the house. My brother was usually there with me most of the time, and, you know, he did sit with me a lot, you know, or I'd sit with him. I'd find him. I was like, hey, you know, I'm coming in here to sit with you. I don't care what you're doing. I just need to sit here because I'm freaking out, and I don't know why. But this doctor I found in Colorado, she, you know, she cried with me. Like, we did basic labs, you know. My liver function was fine. Thyroid was fine. Like I said, we did basic labs. So off basic labs, like, you're, you know, not in depth labs yet. You know, my thyroid was okay, supposedly. My liver was fine. My kidneys, white blood cell count, red blood cell count was a little anemic. But everything else was fine, except, you know, my vitamin B12 was low. It's like, oh, take a supplement, you'll be fine. Your vitamin D is low, take a supplement, you'll be fine. And I said, okay. And I tried it. I ended up in her office maybe twice a week. You know, literally living with this monster. Like, it's like you have a monster. It's like you can't get rid of it. You know, you have someone sitting on your shoulder, whispering in your ear, telling you, you know, you can't get rid of me. And so after these basic labs and everything, you know, I broke down to her and I cried. And you know what? She cried with me. She cried with me and told me that she is going to do whatever she can to figure out what is going on. Because everybody says anxiety is just in your head. It is not just in your head. There's always a reason for it. And I want anyone to know that is struggling with anxiety to know it is not all in your head. And when someone just tells you, oh, everything's going to be okay, that's not how you console someone with anxiety. If they're having a panic attack, the best thing you can do for them is to sit there and just be with them. Because telling someone it's going to be okay you need to stop worrying, you know, everything is fine. Like, you know, sometimes in their head they think that's going to help you, but when you're going through an anxious state of mind, it's overwhelming. And someone telling you, oh, you're fine. No, I'm not fine. There's a war going on inside my body. I am not okay. Like, you know, mentally, I'm not okay. So, if anyone is out there dealing with anxiety and have dealt with it, you know, for some time and don't know where to turn to, please come to me. I have so many things that I can tell you. I'm on a time limit right now. I might do 2 videos in one day tomorrow. Well, today is, what day is it? I left my watch at my mom's. I feel kind of naked. I'm sitting outside of my house right now. And what day is it? May 7th. It's the 7th. So it is Thursday. So this video is going to go up tomorrow. I might do the second part the next day, or I might actually film the second part today. I'm just running short on time right now. But I am here for each and every one of you. And I'm serious when I say that, because it is not fun to go through this alone. For the longest time, I felt like I was going through all this alone, but I wasn't. I was just not willing to accept anybody's help. And that was my biggest flaw at the time, was I would not let anyone in. I would not let anyone help me. But I guess it's because it was new. This was new to my family at the time, because no one knew what I was going through. And I didn't have anyone inside my family that could understand. And I think the biggest frustration for people is when there's nothing they can do to help you. So people kind of get frustrated at you for not, you know, having the tools and guys to help you. But sorry, that was my daughter. But yeah, so I'm serious when I say this. I am here for you. I will continue this video if I can later today, make a second part to it. Might be able to post it tomorrow as well. I'm not sure, it depends. So I do have to go into the office to work tomorrow, and I do have some errands that I do have to run. But, you know, comment down below. I don't care if there's 1,000 people that need to reach out to me, and, you know, we can connect privately, you know, on a, you know, different platform or whatever, you know. And, you know, you can find me on Facebook. I always leave my Instagram, my Snapchat. Just DM me, and I will do whatever I can to help, and I'll always be here to listen. So just don't forget that. I'm always here, and when I say that, I mean it. Y'all have a great day. And just remember, try to stay positive. Even though things might be hard right now, they're not always going to be this way, and there is always an answer. So never stop looking for that answer.